Have you ever been told you're too sensitive, too intense, or too different for your own good, that you think too much, feel too deeply, or simply don't fit? If so, let me ask you something most people never dare to consider. What if all the things you've been criticized for your whole life, your depth, your intensity, your refusal to accept surface level living, aren't flaws at all? What if they're signs of something rare and incredibly powerful? Carl Jung, one of the most visionary minds of modern psychology, once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But what if who you truly are doesn't fit the world's mold? What if, buried underneath your emotional struggles and existential questions, lies a unique type of mind, one wired for uncommon awareness, heightened empathy, and the capacity to see what others refuse to see? This video is not just another personality breakdown. It's an invitation to remember something ancient within you. Because what Jung discovered in his lifetime, through decades of studying the psyche, dreams, archetypes, and myth, was that a small percentage of people walk through this world carrying a consciousness so differentiated, so attuned, that they live almost like psychological pioneers. And most of them never even know it. They feel out of place, misunderstood, or overwhelmed. They're told to calm down, to stop overthinking, to just be normal. But Jung warned us, suppressing what is rare does not make it ordinary, it makes it fractured. When you silence your sensitivity, you don't become more balanced, you begin to forget who you are. And in that forgetting, the true gift, the reason you're here, remains dormant. In today's video, we're going to uncover 8 unmistakable signs that you might be one of these rare personalities. But we're not stopping at just naming traits. We'll explore the deeper meaning behind them. We'll walk through the emotional complexity that modern science is only now beginning to understand. We'll draw from Jung's original theories, but also bring in insights from neuroscience, spiritual psychology, and even ancient wisdom traditions that confirm what Jung sensed all along. These types of people are essential for humanity's next evolution. And I want you to stay with me until the very end, because the final sign, number 8, is something no one talks about, and it just might shift how you see your entire life. It reveals not just what makes you different, but why that difference exists, why your suffering had a purpose, why your sensitivity might be your soul's way of fulfilling a calling far bigger than your circumstances. So if you've ever felt like your depth is a burden, if you've questioned your place in this world, if you've tried to normalize yourself just to belong, this video is for you. Not to diagnose you, not to label you, but to help you remember. Remember that your intensity isn't too much. The world is simply too shallow to hold it. Remember that your inner complexity is not a problem to be fixed, but a mystery to be honored. And above all, remember that you are not broken. You're just awakening. So take a breath, settle in, because what you're about to hear isn't just psychology, it's a mirror. And for some of you, it's going to be the first time you've seen your reflection clearly. Let's begin. Let's begin where most stories of rare souls begin, not in triumph, but in tension. The tension of feeling too deeply in a world that rewards emotional detachment. The tension of carrying storms in your chest while everyone else walks beneath sunny skies. If that sounds familiar, know this. You're not alone, and more importantly, you're not broken. One of the most defining traits of a rare personality, according to Carl Jung, is emotional depth. But this isn't the kind of depth that's poetic or romanticized in movies. No, this is the kind that can feel like a burden, a constant awareness of the unspoken, an inability to just let things go, a sensitivity that others dismiss as overreaction. Jung discovered something remarkable. People with this kind of emotional intensity weren't simply sensitive in the conventional sense. They were what he described as carriers of affect-toned complexes, clusters of psychological energy that run deeper than typical emotions. These individuals don't just feel, they resonate. Like tuning forks picking up vibrations others can't perceive, they sense the grief behind the smile, the anger hiding in pleasantries, the longing in someone's silence. And here's the first hook. What if your emotional overreaction is actually your super sense activating? What if your tears, your gut feelings, your intense reactions are evidence of a rare inner radar? Science is finally catching up. Studies in affective neuroscience, particularly those led by Dr. Elaine Aron on highly sensitive persons, HSPs, confirm that certain nervous systems are more reactive to stimuli, emotionally, physically, even spiritually. The amygdala, the insula, and mirror neurons in these individuals are hyper responsive. In other words, you're wired for depth, and yet society often tells you to lighten up, to stop being so sensitive. But here's where it gets dangerous. Jung warned that when a sensitive soul tries to suppress its natural intensity, it doesn't become more balanced, it splits. The psyche fractures into two selves, one that knows the truth and one that performs for the world. This inner division leads to exhaustion, anxiety, and what Jung called neurosis. Not because you're unstable, but because you've been trained to deny your inner compass. You were never meant to operate on shallow settings. Your system was built to sense the deeper frequencies of life. And here's the second hook. The very trait you've been shamed for might be the one thing that can save others, if you learn how to harness it. Think about it. When someone walks into a room, you don't just hear what they say, you feel it. You notice the slight change in their voice, the tension in their shoulders, the sadness behind their jokes. You're emotionally multilingual. You read energies the way others read headlines. But that gift, untrained, becomes a curse. You absorb pain that isn't yours. You internalize emotions you never asked for. You walk away from conversations feeling heavy, even when nothing bad happened. Jung called this psychological entanglement. And the only way out is awareness. Awareness of the difference between feeling others and carrying them. Now, here's where it gets deeply empowering. Jung believed that emotional depth was a sign of what he called individuation, the process of becoming your true self. And individuation doesn't happen by running from your emotions. It happens by befriending them, by standing in the fire of your own feelings long enough to see that they were never the enemy. They were the invitation to heal, the invitation to become whole, the invitation to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. In Tibetan Buddhism, there's a concept called Shenpa, the emotional hooks that grab us when we're triggered. But the ancient monks didn't advise repressing those hooks. They advised leaning in, watching them, following them to their root. Because buried beneath every emotional reaction is a wound, and beneath every wound is a truth. And beneath that truth is your power. So the question becomes, can you hold your own depth without drowning in it? Here's a powerful practice Jung often guided his patients toward. When you feel something deeply, sadness, frustration, joy, don't react. Don't label. Don't even explain it. Just sit with it. Let it speak in its own time. Because your emotions are not interruptions to your life. They are messages from your inner world, your unconscious trying to awaken you. And here's the final hook of this chapter, leading us into what's next. Once you learn to honor your emotional depth, something extraordinary happens. You begin to see things others don't. You begin to question what others accept. And that is the first step toward transformation. In the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when your mind won't stop asking why things are the way they are, why people follow rules that make them miserable, why everyone seems so content with answers that feel incomplete. If emotional depth is the heartbeat of a rare personality, relentless curiosity is its voice. So if you've ever been accused of thinking too much, analyzing too much, or refusing to just go with the flow, don't worry. That part of you isn't a flaw. It's a signal that your mind is awake and you're here to see beyond the veil. Let's turn the page, because what comes next may help you finally understand why you've always questioned everything and why that's your hidden strength. Have you ever noticed how silence makes you uneasy? Not because it's empty, but because you can hear what others ignore. Have you ever looked around and thought, why are we doing it this way, while everyone else just nods and complies? If you have, congratulations. You're not difficult. You're awake. And that changes everything. In the previous chapter, we uncovered the power of emotional depth. But when that depth pairs with relentless curiosity, something even more potent is born. A mind that refuses to live unconsciously. And in Jungian psychology, that's not a liability, it's an evolutionary gift. Carl Jung believed that most people live what he called unexamined lives, shaped not by their inner truth, but by social programming, patterns inherited from parents, culture, and unspoken expectations. He called this the collective unconscious, a powerful field of inherited symbols and beliefs that steer our behavior without us even realizing it. But you don't just float in that current. You resist it. You stop and ask, why? Why do we accept systems that dehumanize us? Why do we pursue things that leave us feeling empty? Why do we avoid real conversations and fill the void with noise? Here's the first hook of this chapter. If you've ever been told you ask too many questions, it's probably because your questions threaten someone's illusion. People like you, those with highly active thinking functions and what Jung called the transcendent function, aren't just curious. You're existential detectives. You dig beneath appearances, peel away the layers, and search for truth, not because it's convenient, but because your psyche demands it. And it's not just philosophy. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Jung sensed a century ago. Functional MRI scans show that people with deeply questioning minds have increased activity in the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of the brain responsible for error detection and introspective awareness. You literally can't accept things at face value. Your brain is wired to notice contradictions and inconsistencies. But here's where the paradox begins. The more clearly you see, the more alone you can feel. Because when you question the rules, people assume you're rebellious. When you challenge assumptions, they think you're confrontational. When you look beyond the mask, they get uncomfortable because your gaze touches a place they've spent their lives avoiding. You're not trying to make people uncomfortable, you're trying to find the truth. But truth is inconvenient. And those who protect illusions often label truth seekers as negative or too much. This leads to what Jung described as prophetic consciousness. Not in the mystical sense, but in the psychological one. You see where things are going before others do. You sense what's out of alignment long before it collapses. You read the cracks in the system, the emotional fault lines, the unsaid dangers. But that foresight comes with a cost: exile. In many cultures, the visionary is revered in hindsight but rejected in the moment. From shamans to whistleblowers, history is full of souls who were ridiculed for asking the questions others feared. And yet, those very questions later became the seeds of revolution. So here's the second hook. You don't ask too many questions. You ask the ones no one else dares to voice. And that's exactly what the world needs right now. Jung saw this pattern again and again in his patients. The most inwardly conflicted people were not those who were lost, but those who had seen through the game and could no longer pretend to play it. Their suffering didn't come from ignorance. It came from clarity without community. That's the next point you must remember. Clarity without community creates isolation. But clarity with self-trust creates individuation. Individuation, in Jung's model, is the process of becoming whole, of reconciling all parts of the psyche into one unified, conscious self. And asking questions is a crucial part of that process, not just intellectual ones, but soul-level questions. Who am I beneath what I was taught to be? What am I here to create, heal, or reveal? And what happens if I stop betraying my own inner voice? One of Jung's most powerful teachings was this: the shoe that fits one person pinches another. There is no recipe for living that suits all cases. But modern culture doesn't want you to hear that. It wants conformity, not authenticity. It wants mass obedience, not individual evolution. And that's why people like you often feel so out of place, because you're living in a world that rewards repetition while your soul seeks revelation. You were never meant to live on autopilot. Your questions are sacred, and they are the beginning of something extraordinary. And that leads us to the final hook of this chapter. What if your doubt is actually a doorway? What if your restlessness is proof that you're ready for something deeper? Because once you stop needing approval for your questions, you step into a new kind of freedom, the freedom to seek truth without apology, the freedom to trust your perception, and most importantly, the freedom to walk your own path, even if no one else sees it yet. In the next chapter, we're going to explore what that path looks like when walked alone. Because once you begin to trust your inner compass, you often discover that independence isn't a choice, it's survival. The kind of psychological independence we'll explore next isn't about rebellion, it's about remembrance. The remembering of who you are when no one is watching and who you refuse to stop being, no matter the cost. So stay with me, because in Chapter 3, we'll explore what happens when your soul outgrows the need to belong and begins to belong to itself. There comes a moment in every rare soul's journey when something shifts, quietly, almost imperceptibly. One day, you realize that the groups you once tried to fit into no longer feel like home, that the praise you used to seek now sounds hollow, that the version of you who needed approval has gone quiet, and in that silence, something else rises: sovereignty. This chapter is about that turning point, the one where you no longer abandon yourself to belong, where your independence isn't a rebellion, it's a return to who you were before the world taught you to perform. Let's go deeper. In the last chapter, we uncovered how relentless questioning leads to a breaking point, the realization that much of what surrounds you is built on illusions. But once the veil lifts, the next natural step is disconnection. The kind of disconnection that doesn't come from bitterness, but from clarity, from recognizing that staying small to make others comfortable is a form of spiritual self-harm. Here's the first hook. What if outgrowing others isn't selfish, but sacred? Carl Jung wrote, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely, not because self-acceptance is hard, but because it often demands leaving behind the identity that once kept us safe. The people pleaser, the adapter, the version of you that diluted your truth in exchange for proximity, validation, or love. But love that requires you to shrink is not love. Belonging that depends on performance is not belonging." And here's what most people don't talk about. The price of authenticity is often loneliness at first. Jung spent years studying individuals who walk this path, the path of individuation. He found that people who become truly independent often do so through trial, not triumph, through betrayal, through exclusion, through the quiet ache of realizing that the people closest to you don't actually see you. They see the version of you that made them comfortable. But instead of collapsing, you begin to rise, not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily, from the inside out. This kind of independence isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about no longer needing to. It's about no longer outsourcing your worth to a room full of people who never even asked the right questions. And here's the second hook. When you no longer need permission to exist as you are, you become magnetic. Why? Because authenticity is rare. And in a world addicted to the performance of perfection, your rawness becomes revolutionary. Jung noticed something powerful in his clients who had developed this fierce independence. They stopped seeking completion in others. They no longer entered relationships from a place of desperation, but from choice. They didn't need someone to save them. They wanted someone to walk beside them as equals. But here's where the next challenge appears. When you step into your truth, it does something to others. It awakens them, or it threatens them, and often it does both. People who haven't faced their own shadows may see your independence as arrogance, your clarity as criticism, your boundaries as rejection. And that's when the guilt creeps in. Because deep down, you're still wired for connection. You still want to be understood. You still crave intimacy. And yet, you're learning the hard truth. Not everyone who came with you can stay with you. This is what Jung called the psychological death and rebirth, the shedding of outdated identities, relationships, and roles. It's not just painful, it's disorienting, like molting out of a second skin that you lived in for years. You miss the comfort even as you outgrow the confinement. But here's the third hook. The loneliness of becoming real is nothing compared to the emptiness of staying fake. There's a moment when your solitude stops feeling like exile and starts feeling like sanctuary, when the silence becomes sacred, when your own presence becomes enough. And from that place of inner wholeness, something shifts in your energy. You stop chasing, you start attracting, you stop begging for crumbs, you start commanding respect without even asking for it. This isn't arrogance, it's integration. You've met your shadow. You've stopped disowning the parts of you that don't fit society's mold. You've become, in Jung's words, a whole person, not just a persona. And here's where the science supports the soul. Psychologists like Dr. Kristen Neff, pioneers in the field of self-compassion, have shown that individuals who cultivate inner trust, the sense that they can rely on their own truth even when others don't validate it, have lower rates of anxiety and depression and higher levels of resilience and joy. In short, independence, when rooted in self-awareness, becomes emotional freedom. But here's the final, and perhaps most important, hook of this chapter. True independence doesn't mean closing your heart. It means knowing who's worthy of it. Jung observed that those who become whole don't isolate forever. In time, they attract relationships of extraordinary depth, but only when they've made peace with solitude, only when they've stopped needing others to complete them, only when they've become their own anchor. Because when you stop shrinking, you start radiating. When you stop apologizing, you start embodying. When you stop performing, you start becoming. And the right people will feel that shift. They'll recognize you, not for who you pretended to be, but for who you are. So as we leave this chapter, ask yourself gently, who am I when I'm not performing? What parts of me am I still hiding just to be accepted? And am I willing to let go of what's familiar in order to become what's true? Because in the next chapter, we move from the solitude of independence to the mysticism of intuition. We'll explore what happens when your awareness extends beyond logic, when you begin to sense things before they happen, read people without words, and walk through life with a knowing that no one taught you. If you've ever felt like your perceptions go beyond what others can explain, if you've ever wondered whether your insights are imagined or instinctual, get ready. Chapter 4 is where things start to feel like magic. But first, breathe. You've earned this space. Let me ask you something. Have you ever known something without knowing how you knew? Felt someone's pain before they spoke a word, or walked into a room and instantly sensed the energy shift without a single visible cue? If so, it's not your imagination, and it's not coincidence. It's intuition. And in you, it's not just a whisper. It's a language. In the last chapter, we explored the birth of fierce independence, the moment when your soul outgrows the need for external validation and starts standing on its own. But what happens next is something far more subtle and far more mystical. Once you stop performing, once you stop pretending, you begin to hear something deeper, a quiet voice that doesn't shout but knows, a sensation, a pull, a flash of insight that has no linear source but is somehow undeniably true. Carl Jung believed intuition was one of the four primary functions of consciousness, alongside thinking, feeling, and sensing. But unlike those, which are rooted in logic or physical input, intuition moves through the unconscious. It bypasses reason. It doesn't argue. It reveals. Here's the first hook. In a world obsessed with facts, your intuition is a form of inner rebellion, and perhaps your greatest truth teller. And this isn't just theory. In recent decades, neuroscience has caught up. Studies show that the brain is capable of processing vast amounts of sensory and emotional data beneath conscious awareness through what's known as the default mode network. It's why some people seem to just know what's coming, why hunches are often accurate, why your first instinct is usually right. But here's where it becomes even more personal. If you are someone with a rare personality, someone deeply sensitive, highly independent, and psychologically attuned, your intuition doesn't just visit you, it lives in you. You don't guess people's moods, you absorb them, you don't predict outcomes, you feel the direction before it takes shape. And while others call it a feeling, you know it as a frequency, a subtle shift, a vibrational hum. But, and here's where it gets hard, this gift can also become a burden. Because what happens when you sense the truth in someone's smile, but they swear everything's fine? What do you do when you feel a relationship unraveling months before the first crack appears? How do you explain what you know when you can't explain how you know it? Jung understood this dilemma. He warned that highly intuitive people often fall into what he called projection traps, not because their insights are wrong, but because they fail to discern between what they sense in others and what is being activated within themselves. And this leads us to the second hook. Your intuition is sacred, but it must be trained, or else it becomes emotional entanglement disguised as empathy. You see, intuition without boundaries is not wisdom, it's absorption. And when you absorb too much of others' energy, you lose contact with your own. You become a walking antenna, always scanning, always receiving, but never resting. Jung called these individuals unconscious therapists, people who unknowingly regulate the emotional environments of others. You've likely been this person, the one friends come to when they don't even know what's wrong, the one who feels the tension in a room others laugh through, the one who can sense when someone's on the verge of breaking, even if they're dressed in celebration. It's a noble role, but it's not sustainable because while you're tending to others, who's tending to you? This is where many gifted empaths collapse, not from weakness, but from leakage, from giving away their energy to every unspoken need, every wounded soul, every unbalanced space they walk into. They become what Jung warned against, psychologically fragmented, over identified with others' emotional realities and underconnected to their own. So, how do you protect your gift without abandoning it? Jung offered a practice he called active imagination, a technique of engaging the unconscious in a conscious dialogue. It's not daydreaming, it's intentional inner listening, sitting with an image, a sensation, or a symbol that arises without dismissing or explaining it and allowing it to speak. And here's the third hook: the more you learn to listen to your intuition without needing proof, the more accurate it becomes. You don't need to prove your knowing to anyone. That urge comes from old wounds, not wisdom. Instead, cultivate what spiritual teacher Caroline Myss calls energetic discernment, the ability to sense truth without absorbing trauma, to recognize what is yours and lovingly return what is not. But perhaps the most powerful transformation happens when you start trusting your intuition in everyday life, when you no longer override the feeling that says, don't go there. When you learn to pause before saying yes, when you listen to the knot in your stomach or the expansion in your chest, when you begin to co-create with the part of you that sees around corners. And this brings us to something deeper, something few are willing to talk about. Highly intuitive individuals often carry a sense of predestined knowing, a feeling that they are here for a purpose, that their awareness isn't just sensitivity, it's orientation. They don't just feel life, they read it, as if their soul has walked these paths before, as if their insight is ancient. Jung would have called this the activation of the archetypal unconscious, when the symbols, stories, and mythologies that live in all of us begin to awaken consciously in one of us. This is when life stops feeling like a puzzle and begins to feel like a pattern. The people you're drawn to, the lessons you keep repeating, the inner symbols that show up in dreams, visions, moments of clarity, all of it begins to weave together into something sacred, your mythic story. And here's the final hook. Your intuition isn't here to help you survive. It's here to help you remember. Remember who you are. Remember what you've always known. And remember the path that was written for you, not by fate, but by frequency. Because in the next chapter, we'll explore what happens when your values begin to collide with the world around you, when you can no longer pretend to want what others chase, when normal life begins to feel not just unfulfilling, but unbearable. If your soul has ever whispered, there must be more than this, if you've ever felt like you were built for something deeper, truer, harder, but more real, then chapter 5 is for you, because there comes a time in every rare soul's journey when authenticity is no longer optional. It becomes a lifeline, and that time might be now. There's a moment, subtle, quiet, but irreversible, when the soul refuses to keep pretending. It doesn't announce itself with drama, it arrives in stillness. In a morning where you can no longer get out of bed for a job that means nothing. In a conversation where your smile feels like betrayal. In the silence that follows an achievement that should have made you feel alive but didn't. This is not weakness. This is the beginning of your inner revolution. In chapter 4, we explored intuition, the unseen wisdom that guides those who are willing to listen. But what happens when your intuitive knowing begins to challenge every structure you once trusted? When your sense of what's meaningful begins to eclipse what's merely functional? That's when the great unraveling begins. And also, the great remembering. Carl Jung observed this point in many of his patients, especially those who possessed rare psychological sensitivity. He called it the transition from the first half of life to the second. In the first half, we build, we chase, we perform, we try to be someone. But in the second half, often triggered by a personal crisis or an invisible collapse, we begin to ask a different question. Who am I without the performance? Here's your first hook. Meaning doesn't arrive when you have all the answers. It begins the moment you're brave enough to question the script. And for those with deeply attuned psyches, those with emotional depth, intuitive clarity, and a need for inner truth, this questioning becomes more than curiosity. It becomes survival. You literally cannot function inside systems that run on inauthenticity. That's why the external world begins to feel brittle. You look around and wonder how others still play the game. You wonder how people stay in relationships without love, jobs without purpose, conversations without truth. You wonder if something's wrong with you because you can't unsee it. Jung would tell you, there is nothing wrong. You're simply no longer in the first half of life. You've stepped into a deeper orbit, one governed not by ego, but by soul. And here's the second hook. Meaning is not something you find, it's something you return to, because it was never gone. It was just buried under the need to please, to impress, to survive. This is what spiritual teacher Parker J. Palmer called listening to the soul's shy presence. He wrote that the soul is like a wild animal. It will flee if chased, but will come close if you sit quietly and wait. And many of us spend years running so loudly through the forest of ambition that we never hear its footsteps behind us. But now you're still, and now you're hearing it. The quiet voice that says, this life was never about proving, it was about remembering. Remembering what made your heart come alive as a child. Remembering the truth you buried the first time someone told you, that's not practical. Remembering the part of you that never stopped yearning, even when you called it unrealistic. And this is where the rupture begins. Because you can no longer betray that part of you. You can no longer write emails you don't believe in, attend meetings that insult your intelligence, say yes to things that drain you. You begin to realize a life without meaning is not sustainable, not for you. Jung referred to this as the individuation imperative, the soul's unavoidable call toward wholeness. And it doesn't matter how successful, popular, or praised you are, if your outer life isn't aligned with your inner truth, your psyche will begin to dismantle it. But don't fear the dismantling, because here's the third hook. When the false life falls apart, it's not destruction, it's initiation. Initiation into a life that doesn't ask for applause, that doesn't require explanation, that feels deeply, quietly true. At first, this can feel lonely. You may begin to pull away from relationships that once felt central to your identity. You may lose taste for old dreams that once fueled you. You may find yourself sitting in the middle of your life, surrounded by everything you built, wondering, whose dream was I living? But let me offer this, that disillusionment is not the end. It's the door. Because now you have space for something far more powerful, alignment. Alignment doesn't mean the absence of effort. It means your energy finally flows in the same direction as your soul. You stop swimming against your nature. You stop trying to be palatable. You begin choosing work, relationships, rhythms, and routines that reflect who you really are, not who the world told you to be. And that brings us to the fourth hook. When you choose meaning over image, you become free in a way most people will never understand. You'll no longer need to convince others of your worth. You'll no longer tolerate half-truths in the name of harmony. You'll no longer settle for a life that looks good on paper, but feels like starvation in your chest. This is when your revolution becomes quietly unstoppable. You won't shout about it. You won't need to. Your presence will speak for itself. Your decisions will become statements. Your boundaries will become declarations. You'll be called difficult, intense, maybe even selfish. But you'll know the truth. You're not rejecting the world. You're choosing to live from the center of your being. And when you live from that center, when your words, choices, and values align, you create a kind of energy that invites others to do the same. You become what Jung called a midwife of consciousness, not because you teach or preach, but because your life becomes the teaching. And that leads us to our final insight. Meaning is not a destination. It's a way of walking, a way of rising every day and asking, what does my soul need today? Where is life calling me to say no or yes? What truth am I being asked to embody, even if it costs me approval? You may never get applause for this path, but you'll feel something infinitely more valuable, peace. The peace that comes from knowing you are no longer living someone else's life. The peace that comes from being true to the sacred contract you made before you forgot. And now, finally, you're remembering. So as we prepare for the final chapter, take this in. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are not lost. You are becoming whole. And every choice you make from this new place ripples far beyond what you can see. Because when one person lives authentically, it gives others silent permission to do the same. Let's carry that truth into the final step of this journey. at the end where everything comes together. If you've made it this far, take a breath, not to move forward, but to arrive fully, deeply right here. Because this wasn't just a video, it was a remembering of the part of you that always knew deep down that your sensitivity was never weakness, that your intensity was not a flaw to be corrected, but a signal that your soul was built for something more, that your inner knowing, no matter how inconvenient, was always telling you the truth. You didn't imagine it. You didn't exaggerate it. You sensed it. And now you've named it. You've walked through emotional depth, through the fire of questioning, through the solitude of independence, through the mystery of intuition, and into the quiet revolution of meaning. And each step wasn't just information, it was initiation. You've been initiated into your own wholeness. Carl Jung once said, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens." And that's exactly what you've done. But let me be clear, this isn't the end of the journey. It's the threshold. Because what comes next is not about ideas, it's about embodiment. It's about walking into the world with your eyes open, your heart intact, and your intuition no longer hidden in the background. It's about honoring the truth even when it costs you comfort. It's about choosing alignment even when it means standing alone. It's about living your life as if your soul matters, because it does. And here's the final hook. Your healing is not just personal, it's archetypal. When one person refuses to betray themselves, it changes the field. When one person reclaims their voice, it echoes across generations. When one person chooses meaning over performance, it gives others silent permission to remember who they are too. You don't need a stage to be impactful. You don't need credentials to be wise. You don't need anyone's approval to be free. What you need is to stay awake. To stay awake when the world tries to numb you. To stay awake when your old patterns come calling. To stay awake when your light threatens the illusions of others. Because staying awake is the most revolutionary act of all. And when it gets hard, and it will, come back to this. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are not too much. You are becoming. Becoming the one you were always meant to be, underneath all the masks, stories, and survival strategies. You are not here to fit. You are here to shift. So if this message stirred something ancient in you, if you felt seen in these words, if a quiet yes kept rising in your chest as you listened, then don't let this be a passive experience. Leave a comment below and write 1 if this spoke to your soul, 0 if you're still finding your way, but you're willing to keep walking. Let others see your presence here. Let this be a place of reflection, not just information. Subscribe if you haven't already, because this isn't just a video series. It's a mirror, a companion, a doorway. Share this video with someone who's been quietly questioning, quietly awakening, quietly wondering if there's more. And finally, remember this. The world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more presence. It needs people like you, raw, awake, unapologetically deep, living proof that being different is not a defect, but a divine design. You're watching Awakened Wisdom, where ancient truth meets modern awakening, and I'll see you in the next video.